Hey all, it is Wednesday, the 27th of May. I have successfully withstood a heat wave. It has gone down to normal, acceptable temperatures, so I can be outside, as evidenced by the tree I'm stood under. Yeah, it's no longer like 30 degrees and 5 million% humidity anymore. It's a good time. It's now 21 degrees and there's wind. Like, look, that's the wind. It's back. Um, I'm not going to bore people with details about English weather and why it's worse than people would expect, because you can just Google it and you'll find out why. It's pretty plain and simple. I have, on account of the heat wave that's kind of wiped basically the entire country out over the course of about 3 days, not done an enormous amount this past week. Um, the I've primarily been mapping stuff out for next month's one-page adventure, Heather and Gauze and Fire. I also did some work on finalizing Slime Sunday, which is this month's one-page adventure, which is coming out on Friday, hopefully. Like I haven't fully like I need to sort the itch page for it. That'll be something I do on Friday. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spend time during the week doing it. I'm gonna do it on the day I need to do it. I think I might do it the night before, but I'm probably gonna do it on the day. I can be honest with myself. I'm gonna do it on the day. um, yeah, um, yeah. That is frankly all I've really been able to do this week. I've done a little bit more work on the starter adventure for Nimble. It is proving to be challenging. I am having some difficulty with it. Um, just because of the format of it is different for a Nimble adventure. It's kind of weird. Um, yeah, it is. I need to work out a lot of like structural things to make the gap between adventures like 2 and 3 make sense. I've already done a bit of like a hand wavy thing between they're listed in chapters. A bit of like a hand wavy thing between chapter 1 and chapter 2 because it's meant to be a starter adventure. It's meant to be a lot more lenient on players than an adventure maybe typically normally would. Not to say that Nimble's a particularly like lethal system because it really is not. Um, but it is like Nimble is it has rules for resting and recovery, and in the player's first session they might do something stupid or whatever, and you kind of want to give them a little bit of leeway to not feel like you're sort of punishing them for testing the boundaries of what the like where the risks are. You kind of want to like certainly I think it is a better mindset with players looking to get into the game today to be less like punishing and be more you know you give them a one chance to maybe like fuck things up, a freebie, and then the sort of clear of like I'm giving you this one out because you're new and don't necessarily know any better. Um, is can be just as valuable like a teaching thing and feel less bad than just punishing them for it and expecting them to learn. Um, I feel is certainly for like new players is like yeah they you can have a sort of gentler touch with that kind of thing. I think is generally healthier. But yeah, that's just me. Um, yeah, I'm hoping this next week or this coming week. It is Wednesday again. Like the last 3 4 days have been basically like a no go. I say that I was busy Saturday and Sunday, and it was very hot on Sunday, but it wasn't this bad. And then Monday and Tuesday, it was like 30 plus degrees, and it was the kind of stay cooped up in I was like cooped up in my office just with all the windows closed with a fan on and just like waiting for the day to be over and for it to get back down to like normal temperatures today. So yeah, for this week I've also got another like um this Sunday I'm going to be at um um UK Games Expo um in Birmingham. So if anybody if there's any like mutuals who want to say hi, I will be there. This is my face. I will be wearing, if I remember, which I should, I will be wearing a black shirt with my company logo like stitched into the back and into the pocket square here, or into the pocket here. It will be fairly visible. The company, it's a big diamond shape on its side. It's white and teal, basically, or tealy green. It's a gradient, but you can't really stitch a gradient. It's AJ hand stitched it. But yeah, if anybody wants to say hi, I will be around and as visible as is appropriate for such an occasion. Yeah, we are scouting UK Games Expo to see if we want to table it next year. We have a couple cons. I've mentioned them a few times before. We have a couple cons lined up this year. We're going to Norwich. We're going to NGC in Norwich Games Convention in August, and we are going to Dragon Meet in November. We are all booked up for Norwich. Like we booked our Airbnb months ago. Like we've got a spot. Dragon Meet, we're sort of looking at the eye-watering Airbnb and hotel prices, and like questioning whether we're gonna stay for 2 nights or not, because usually we you want to stay the night before so you can not be driving into London at 6 o'clock in the morning. And potentially set up the night before. I can't remember if Dragon Meet lets you do that. Probably not. And then stay the night so you can, see people. It's kind of the idea. But we are considering not staying the second night just because of how eye-wateringly expensive it is. I was talking with family about this today. To put it into perspective, our overhead for the other few cons we've done have been about £300, like 350, and that is all expenses. Like all expenses have been about £300 for equipment, for stock, for travel, for actually, like the price for tabling the con in the first one has been about £300, 350 odd. And that is low for a con, because we're a very, very small company. Like our overheads are very, very low, and we don't make a tremendous amount of sales at cons. They are almost as much like a networking thing for us as they are actually like a sale thing. But just to put it into perspective, like just a table at Dragon Meet is £250. We're looking at like 2 nights in London is like upwards of £300. It's ridiculously expensive. Yeah, it's like, especially it's like we want to be able to like actually sleep and not just be in like a room, like a hostel room with like 9 other people. We want to be able to, actually sleep. Like having a room that is near enough to the convention where we can get there and isn't a rat's nest is, in London is prohibitively expensive, and it's like, just to attend, ignoring travel costs, food costs, but any of the stock we're going to need, because we're going to have to buy a whole bunch of stock for Dragon Meet. I would hope we would need to buy a whole bunch of stock for Dragon Meet. Otherwise, it's a gigantic waste of money, and we'd never go again. But even before doing all of that, it's more expensive than every con we've ever been to before, which is insane. Even like UK Games Expo, a starter table at that is like £250, and that's a 3-day con. Well, Dragon Meet is 1 day. It's like crazy just how ludicrously expensive it is. But if it's worth going, it's worth, like if the price is indicative of the foot traffic, and if us going last year was any indicator, there was a lot of fucking people at Dragon Meet. And we didn't even show up until midday. Like, we are not precious about spending lots of time attending cons. Like, we just want to scout and, see the stalls, buy a couple of things, maybe go to like one panel. Like, we're not interested in like playing games at cons or anything like that. Like, if we're going to play games with people, it's going to be like industry types if they're like, hey, do you want to play this? And it's like, sure, yeah. Like the first con we ever went to, which was NGC in 2014, we got pulled into like an impromptu game of Vaults of Varn with a bunch of people, and I'd never heard of Varn at that point. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. I sat down, was handed a card with a pre-generated character on it with a whole bunch of weird traits, and I was like, this is the next 2 hours of my life. Apparently, it was a good time. Um, yeah, that's con stuff. It's God, Dragon Meat is so fucking expensive, but like if it's worth it, it better fucking be worth it, you know. But yeah, the only other thing I've really got going on at the minute is outside of just ongoing games, which are not the most interesting thing in the world to talk about on these. Like most people don't care for very sensible reasons. Yeah, you look at like I've been running that Pokemon game. We've had like our fourth session, and the fifth is next Wednesday. I think it's a week today. That's going very well. I'm like very happy with how that is right now. People seem to be enjoying it. After that, I'm gonna run Daggerheart for that group for the first time. I've owned Daggerheart since it came out last year, and I've not had a chance to play it yet. And it is a game. I have my reservations about it on like a long form health scale. But as a game, it looks very, very fun. I think the fact that my primary concern with Daggerheart is how fun it would be to play 5 times as opposed to once, says quite a lot. I would say, like, my primary thing with Daggerheart is like, once my primary concern is if I, for this is not something for me. I would not be replacing my games with Daggerheart. Daggerheart just does not look like a game that would be fun to run online, and I run most of my games online. I run in person like infrequently. I would run Daggerheart in person. I'm going to. I would do it again, assuming I enjoy myself, which I'm pretty certain I'm going to. It looks great. My concern would be is like, once you've run Daggerheart 4 times, and assuming you're not running for like tiny groups of people, if you've got like, groups of 4 to 6, by the time you start your 4th or 5th game of Daggerheart, you should have likely seen every single domain, which are like the decks of cards that the classes mix and match in the game. And there's not an inconsiderable number of them, but there's not that many either. There's like, I think like level 1 has like 5 cards, and then every level after that up to 10 has between 2 and 3 per domain. So by the time you play your 4th or 5th game of Daggerheart, when do the characters start feeling mechanically the same? You know? Like, what happens when, I don't know, like the Guardian class in Daggerheart or whatever. I don't remember what domains it has. I think it's like Valor and Blade or something like that. Let's say that that's what it is for the sake of argument. It doesn't really matter. Let's say you have a Guardian in your first game, and they pick, one of the 2 subclasses, because there's only 2 per class. Let's say they pick one of the 2. And then you play your second game, and then somebody plays a Guardian again, because Guardian is like a very popular class archetype that is, especially for D&D players, which is because it's not represented in D&D at all. The closest thing there is Barbarian, and it's very different thematically and mechanically. Like you are a DPS, a tank DPS, so you're like a bruiser, like a peel tank bruiser character as a Guardian, whereas D&D is just like barbarians just hit things, and they're hard to kill themselves. Very few barbarians have the capacity to actually help other people, unless you really spec into it or are very, very proficient at the game on like a broad like playstyle level, which most people are not. And most people are not interested in doing when playing a barbarian in particular. But like you get your second Guardian character, and they were in the first game, so they're like, oh, I'll pick the other subclass, and they build a character that's like mostly different. There's like a few cards that they pick are the same because they're like really good abilities or whatever. And then you get to your third game and no one plays a Guardian or whatever, or you get to your third game and you play with a different group, or like a mixture of different players, and one of those new players picks a Guardian. There's no new subclass for them to pick, which maybe doesn't matter that much. Like, you can have characters pick the same character options, but then you look at the domain cards and you realize across the 2 characters, both of those first 2 games were like quite long. You know, like they went up to at least like level 7 or whatever, which, you know, in Daggerheart is, yeah, pretty high. Like the game goes to level 10. Um, this Guardian character, like almost every single domain card was picked by a previous character, and a lot of them are specced into specific styles of play that are also represented by the two subclasses. So you end up with a sort of D&D 4th edition situation where I realize, yeah, this is just the same problem that D&D 4th edition has, where it is like you have characters where like you have all these abilities and they're sort of more appropriate to certain styles of play, and then you have like two subclasses and they're also geared to those same styles of play, so the characters end up feeling really samey if people play the same class more than once. I do like. Do I have enough experience with Daggerheart to be able to know whether that is actually a problem? Not even remotely. But that is my primary concern with the system. Is just how enjoyable is it mechanically in the long term? Like how fresh. Like, because they can't just keep churning out classes and new domains because they're just going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel really fucking fast. You know, the more domains you add, the more stray domains there are, like ones that aren't represented by classes. Like they're adding the Dread domain in their new upcoming book, but the book only has 4 classes and only 2 of them use the Dread domain. Yeah, there's the Witch and the Warlock, I believe, and the Witch is like Dread and Sage, and the Warlock is Dread and I would assume Shadow, but I don't actually know. Like there are other classes I can envision in my mind that would make sense. You know, you got like a Death Knight or something, or, you know, some equivalent. You know, some kind of like a Reaver class or something. I don't know, like it's like a Blade or Bone or Dread or some shit like that. Like I can see it. I really see it. But then like that's still like that only kind of partially solves the problem because the classes are pretty bare bones in Daggerheart. They're just a couple of class abilities, a hope feature, and then like two to like 2 features when you first pick your subclass in Daggerheart. It just feels it feels like it has the capacity to stagnate really fast. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's something that a lot of people don't really care about when they play games. I can very much see that just being a me thing, but I don't know. I'd be curious if anybody has played Daggerheart multiple times, like 2 or 3 times, preferably like 3 or more times, which is presumably at this point it's just not enough people have played Daggerheart enough to provide valuable data on that. But if you have, please do tell me how you felt about that, because I don't think it's ever going to be relevant to me. I don't think I'm going to run Daggerheart enough for that to ever really matter. But the fact that it is a thing does bode. It does worry me a little about the game's potential future, because I really like it, even if I think it's kind of dumb that they decided not to play it for their 4th campaign. Like, campaign 4 is really fun. I'm watching it like actively. It's the first time I've like really been like excited about Critical Role in a very long time. But I guess someone walked back there. But even yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Either way, I'm going to stop talking about other people's games and go work on some of my own. I'm going to head back and maybe, well, I'm going to try and sort of reorient myself and work out what the fuck is going on, because my brain is just fucking fried from the last couple of days. It's rough. But it's okay now, and it's going to be mostly okay for the rest of the day, or rest of the week. And then I'm in Birmingham, which is further up north, so it will be colder anyway, which is nice. I say that. I think the people who volunteer, I know some people who volunteer at UK Games Expo. And the Thursday where they do the setup, like they spend all day setting up, it's meant to be like 27 degrees in Birmingham or so, and they're going to be in a convention hall. Like I said, it's probably air conditioned in there. They might be all right. I don't know. They probably won't be. They're probably going to have an absolutely fucking miserable time. So good luck to those people. Not that any of them will watch this. And yeah, I am going to head home and work out what I'm going to do for the rest of the week. Because I've got some writing stuff, I've got some editing stuff, and then sort of a vague haze of stuff I kind of need to do, but kind of don't. It's a weird one. But yeah, I'm going to head off here. I will hopefully do one of these either on Monday, the day I get back from UK Games Expo, though I imagine I will probably be too tired. But if I do get the chance, I will do one. If not, it will probably, assuming it's not stupidly hot, I will do one on Tuesday. But yeah, I will see you all then. See ya.